can feel the room, you're tired. Let's face it, it's normal, since innovation, it's a love, Today, we will play a game together. So I think it's the perfect moment for the afternoon presentation. So the idea is that we'll do some groups, okay? We'll do 4 groups around the table. So take the moment, go up, stretch out a little bit, and form groups. Don't worry about the number or this moment. You just place your feet around the table in groups. We'll play together.
We need to explain.
Okay, so for every table, there will be one person taking his or her phone. Take this code. Okay, and this will get you to Blackstone, a collaborative application that we will use to play our game together. So just one person per table is fine. So just thumbs up, so I can confirm that you are all take the code and you're already to go. So just one person for a table.
Are you doing anything?
I'm trying. Good, it's working. And they will ask you for a name. Table in the back, good. Guys, good? We're good. Good. One person connected? Okay, go. Welcome into our morning of WordPress. Today, we're playing a game on the future of work information for a Canadian bank using EDGY and enterprise design.
So with community, we will share with you feedback about the last mission we have with Alex. That is currently running. We are again working for this client this year. Let's go. So who are we? I am Anthony. I am ecosystem and experience designer, and I work at Onepoint with Alex. And about my intervention with my clients, I'm very focused on transformation. And when I talk about transformation design, I like to say that we like to put the effort creating the great conditions to make things happen. And for this, I work with Alex.
Yes, everyone. I'm Alex. I'm working with Anthony. We have 2 other friends. Hello, Onepoint. So I've been working with Anthony for a year now on this project. Everything is anonymous on this board. You will see, and it's normal. We will share maximum details because we find that it's good for you to have this juice of our work. And I am working as a change management with the specialist for Onepoint on the transformation.
So the story began in 2021. So to introduce the game, once upon a time in a far country called Canada, in a period we all ought to forget called COVID, the bank was going through the period of profound transformation. The directions driven by new management was emerging to build the future of the organization. A new path was to be traced. The bank wished to create the conditions to let emerge a new culture. More agile, more open, focused on the well-being and individual development of its employees, and in the service of collective performance. To complete this future vision, we use our enterprise design mindset and EDGY fundamentals. But because we are consultants, we like to make people work. So are you ready to experience it? Because we want that you to take our place while bigger this experience. Are you ready?
Yeah. Ready.
Ready?
Okay.
Come on, guys, are you ready?
Ready, yeah.
Okay, so the gameplay is very important. So every game has its own gameplay. So today, you are everyone enterprise design superheroes. Take this seriously. You will have to reveal your transformation superpowers through 4 different levels. So you have 4 different little games to do, but it's always the same dynamic. What we want you to do is to activate your combo. So you need to choose that combo with people, activity, and object. Okay? By team, so together, you will have some time to discuss. You will have about 3 minutes per level to discuss together and to come to a consensus on what is your combination. There will be always 4 different options. You will have to choose between those options. Okay, so reveal your combo. And then we'll say 1, 2, 3, go, and you will have to move quickly to reveal this combo. And we will sit and compare and discuss together what would have been the way you would have handled this transformation. Okay, so there's no good or bad answers. There's all kinds of different answers, and we will show you what we did after. Good? Makes sense?
Feedback, comments, initials? No. So what is the mission? For this program, we talked with our clients about work-life experience. So your mission is to drive the organizational transformation of the bank going through the definition of their future work. So maybe you want to discuss about what future work is. You will have to support them with an enterprise design approach and EDGY fundamentals. We will start with the first level. Are you ready? Let's go.
So the context. So our superheroes, you now start your mission. The bank, your client, has already worked on the green identity facet. So this is where you come. This identity has already been worked on. So the client already knows at this point, who are they? Why do they exist? What matters to them and what makes them different and unique.
So starting from this point, the expected outcome we want to achieve is you need to help the bank to feel trustful about the most relevant future work scope. So if you were in this context at this moment of the mission, what is your strategy? Ready for your combo? So now we will present you 4 different options.
So at this point, this is what you will be seeing on your phone, guys, okay? But you will just play on the phone. So we'll go through this exactly, maybe a little bit, and then we'll give you time to discuss, read this in detail, and choose on the combination, the combo you want.
So here we are at the coordination level. We are not at the strategic level with EDGY. We are not at an operational level. We are at our coordination level as a consultant to help our clients to create the great conditions to find its own conclusion. So to help the bank to be trustful about the most relevant work scope, maybe you will prefer doing a competition analysis to help you to define, yes, what is the scope of future work? What our competitors consider that future work is. Maybe you will start from listening to the voice of employees, considering that the scope defining by their needs and expectations will help you to scope what is the future work scope. Maybe you will start asking for the cybersecurity rules, because when you put the future work topic on the table, maybe some people, maybe you can face some resistance or change, because we will say, hey, well, we will define what is flexibility in the vision. No, we are here cybersecurity. People to say, this is the frame where you have to play. This is the playground, and first we have to start with. You have to start with this. Or maybe you will identify the usage scope of collaboration tools, like big editors on the market that propose this kind of approach. Okay, it's clear?
Is it clear? Any questions with those?
Inserts?
We will take time to go through the themes, so you will have 3 minutes starting from now to discuss. And then I will do times up and we will rapidly do the combo.
And please don't try to.
Guys, you'll need to choose. We click on it. Okay, we'll go check everybody with the phone, just make sure. Click on it and you should be able to move it. Okay? But for now, just discuss, please. And we'll go through it.
Yeah. I think this is, you agree on this? Yes.
Basic problem.
How do you get
For the top right.
It's not especially a good answer, okay? Considering the context, considering the culture of the company, etc., you can start from different points. Okay. But maybe you want to comment for the dog, the cat,
Yeah.
the unicorn.
Who's the unicorn? Why? Why this option? Why your combo?
Why?
Why?
That's the right thing to do.
Anybody else? Want to comment on the?
We should ask the one that's in the bottom one, why they didn't choose the right.
Who did that? Oh my God.
I find it interesting. There's 4 teams and 5.
Okay, so
Now there's an idea.
this is okay, so everybody is on the top right. Right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now,
So we start. Change.
yeah. Now we will share with you what we did in this context.
Yes. What we did is that we conducted user research, and based on that, it allows us to define our playground, which is all of it. We work everywhere to do this transformation. So basically, it helps us confirm that we have to consider all the different facets and intersections, so organization, architecture, project, all of it.
So it means that yes, we started from there, but it's not especially the only answer. And when we have this conclusion, we state the big picture covered by the EDGY framework, but we focused in our playground that was everything except the green world.
Basically, give us the scope of our mission.
So, next level. Are you ready? Yeah?
Gonna wait.
Yes.
So now you have your scope and the related stakeholders. It's clear now that you are in front of a cross-functional transformation. You will need to adopt an holistic approach and in order to understand that, in order to let everyone understand the transformation.
And one more information. In this context, we have to compose with another expectation from our client. He asked for us to give more details about people, place, and whose dimensions. So we started from the EDGY framework. We had to compose with this kind of expectation. And we find a way to mix these elements together to be sure to deliver the best value to our clients in terms of conclusion. So we connected the dots with, for example, the main 3 dimensions that are identified in the UX design literature. And we define that in every experience, you always have these 3 pillars that are people, place, and tools. So we make the effort to describe what is the experience considering these 3 dimensions. So when we are talking about the people dimension, we are talking about changing organization and developing new skills, allowing the emergence of new mindset and related behaviors. Because when we look at the EDGY framework, we can ask, what about the culture? Where is it in the framework? Everywhere or not, etc., etc. When we are talking about tools, the tools dimensions, we are talking about developing the use of tools and new practices to create employee and customer value. And what about the place dimension is about ensuring that the work environment supports the emergence of target behaviors. So we started from these 3 dimensions into the experience facet to identify the main stakeholders too. IT people, real estate people, HR people, etc. And our first recommendation was to include this line too, but for political reasons and our scope, we only focused on everything that is related to employee experience and not customer experience. But this is for maybe 2024, so we'll see. The expected outcome at that stage is you need to engage stakeholders on a shared culture of work and issue. So what is your strategy? Maybe you will need to reaffirm to the identified stakeholders, IT, real estate, and HR people, the purpose that were already worked by the company. Maybe you will try to define together what is the experience strategy.
Maybe you're more mapping the main item building tool used by employees. Maybe it's your experience or experience strategy alignment with the HR cultural initiative. So there are 4 different strategies again here. So we'll give you time again to think and we'll ask for your comment. Same dynamic 2 minutes. Go.
Yeah, other question?
You need to review.
Yeah, we can't see it on the board.
You need to go next one.
Take the next one. Yeah, fill the template.
Oh, that's
You need to go.
Have you made up your mind?
I
want to see what that would be but I think yes,
Ah, really?
Don't select.
So that, okay, and the solution. The option, when you get to your what? Is it gonna be what? No need to engage.
If they just want this on their.
They, the previous statements, and you have to click on the one,
I think it's small. There's things that are grouped in the interesting range. I would go.
I'm looking at the top right.
Yeah, you know, you already know that.
Am I locating?
Planning them out, right? Stay neutral.
You need to stand there like you believe it. I want to check We didn't do the work.
There was a few sections.
This is very interesting, right? Because I mean, it's now.
Yes.
Do anybody want to share their mindset or couple?
Yeah, so it was my idea to put our little blue guy into the top left because I thought, you know, the identity and the purpose is already there. We don't want to have again the opinion of everyone. We just shove it into everyone's face. No? Basically, just need to have these transformation stakeholders also and not question it anymore. Huh? Might be wrong, but I found that interesting.
We thought that HR shoves it in everyone's face better.
It's interesting. Want to see what we did?
Cool.
Yeah.
We took the one we did, but
So what we just defined the right scope at the previous level, and now we need to define the best starting point to engage the community of stakeholders that are IT people, real estate people, and HR people. So we knew at this moment that the green places was already highlighted. So we decided to start from an intersection that was near the previous facet that was worked, because there was a lot of interrelation with this. And we included too the 3 dimensions I explained, presented to you in the previous level. It means that in terms of outputs, when we worked with people to define after the user research phase, what could be the main targeted employee experience, we make the effort to describe each targeted employee experience with these 3 dimensions. So we describe what is the experience, what is the impact of the experience, etc. With some detail in this slide, and we give more details about what are the required capabilities, the place capabilities, the tools and capabilities, etc.
And because, why we made like this? Because we wanted to engage people, but we're not there. And as you can see, we are quite far from there. So we started from here, and we included these dimensions to be more intuitive for people there. So that's why we do our output like that. And to go further, for engage more easily IT people, we started from all the contents we described there to create a first version of the capability map, where for each yellow square here, this is about the targeted employee experience, in which you will find every capability required. So how we mapped our conclusion at this level.
So the first level is brand experience. Do you have one generic example? What would be one of these yellow boxes on the bottom?
For example, more collaboration.
Oh,
Okay. But what it means more collaboration when we are talking about people, about place, and about tools. So it engages people in this discussion at this step, and it's quite interesting because it opens, it's easy after when you want to discuss the required capabilities and then the required task to put in place to make happen this capability. Question?
Yeah, which of the options is this?
Yeah.
Because I can't relate it to the options.
So we started from there. Because the green facets was already defined, and we chose the facets, the intersection, but was just near the green that was already defined.
Where do you get people placing tools from? It's an ask of the client.
Yeah. At the beginning of the mission, they asked us to define the shore work, including these 3 dimensions. So we have to compose with it. And finally, we found it interesting because we know that an experience is often defined with these 3 dimensions.
So can I just ask, really?
Yeah, sure.
The challenge is the cultural change. If you're actually affecting people's day-to-day work behavior.
Yeah.
So I would assume that sort of delve a bit more into cultural models. You know.
Can you speak up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was just saying, that the cultural change, new ways of working.
Yeah.
And so I would have assumed that you would have had a strong cultural analysis that you have to go through. So your 2 options on the right, one is the experience strategy by itself, and the other one, the experience strategy with the cultural map. So you did an experience strategy without considering culture?
The context was interesting because it started in 2021. And during the UX research phase, every people were at home. So we had to ask them the interrelation they had and the emotion belief into this interrelation with their workplace at home, with their leaders, their other colleagues, etc., to identify the main foundations that we need, that we will have to consider next to establish which capabilities or which kind of emergence in terms of behavior at the situation of new kind of relations, because when you reinvent culture, you try to reinvent leadership, for example, etc. So you will change how people interact together. So it's about cultural artifacts where you are talking about behavior. That's it. No.
So we're culturally, that's telling you the behaviors that you should follow as you're engaging with the business, traveling that path of experience. So what behaviors should we as employees be exhibiting as we're traveling the experience journey? So without that, then you're kind of, the employees are floating and they're not sure what behaviors they should actually be taking on board.
Unless they started with researching with all the employees to see where, just get a feel of how things are, and then maybe start, is that what?
Yes, we identified this with employees and priorities for identified by employees, right? So they didn't identify directly like they have a culture, or I don't identify my culture or my job culture. What they gave us is basically what's in this here, right? So we identify like a common language here, but the targeted experiences, the 9 targeted experiences were defined by employees. So this was a way for us to know how to make this transformation work using term except what they believed would make the transformation work in their company.
We started with a bottom-up approach.
Bottom up.
So the value of that means that you would actually rewrite behaviors based upon what you're hearing from your, they actually rewrite your culture.
But then at this point, we are the first
But
year,
have your
right?
culture impose it on the new behaviors you put together.
Yeah, but we are too early for that at this point. We
It
are
was-
just like in the first year of
Yeah, it
of
was,
research.
it was at the beginning, people were at home and they had to anticipate the return to the office. So maybe the development of new behaviors they could have with other colleagues, their leaders, etc., etc. So it was the first statement that we have to confirm on the next level. Does it answer your question?
I'm not happy with it, but it does answer.
We'll consider this.
Next. So
Next
level.
level. Okay, now we identify the scope, right? The first level. And the starting point of the future of work transformation. The second level. Now we are at level 3, the path. You need, at this point in this level, you are now confronted with the silos that we all know in an organization. So you are confronted with those silos that every silo has its own roadmap, right? So their own priorities.
So the expected outcome there is you need to create team synergy while considering the trajectory of pace of each one, the next part. In other words, you need to create alignment through roadmap and related governance. So considering this, what is the new strategy?
I already like the bottom. Lazy consultants.
You could start with identification of OKRs, objective key results, that are related to the transformation program. Guide the roadmap design. It could be your first combo.
You can start there by gathering the plan and anticipated tasks in each roadmap to consider. Yet we already defined the value to deliver. We already defined in relation with the value to deliver the main capabilities to make emerge. So today, in the existing roadmap of each entity, what fits with this ambition? So we pick and choose and validate the aggregation of these main actions that were already identified. And we discussed about some activities what were not already identified to create the conditions for the emergence of new capabilities delivering the value.
Third idea, you could ask ChatGPT. Show me the light I'm lost in the transformation complexity. That could be,
And the rest of it, and you can start from a blank sheet and you can propose an activity like to ideate different new tasks that could be co-designed for transformation roadmap with enterprise experts.
any question? Oh, you can take the words.
Thanks very much.
The lazy
Any question?
Oh, yeah. I
Have you choose your bubble?
Getting used to hearing this side.
Yay! We are day 3. Everybody make your copies. We have 2 main answers. Nobody went to ChatGPT. I don't understand here.
Nobody's lazy here.
Okay, so we've been with gathering the plan and anticipated tasks into operational ecosystems. And the last one, ideation of new tasks in the school web center for information roadmap.
You never reveal the source of your proactivity.
So what? How do we handle this one?
No.
It's the subject.
So what we
So we define the fundamentals of the edging with the facets and the interconnections at an operational level. So why we did that? To increase an high level of connection and alignment between all the different panels.
And with this kind of approach, it helps us to make emerge 41 cross-functional projects, especially at these intersections. And we have to consider that before this kind of mapping, people think in their silos, and they didn't consider what could exist between their silos. So we started from their existing roadmap, considering main activities they already identified that could help us to make matching capabilities, deliver the common value for the global ecosystem, and to help them and align them before co-designing a big transformation roadmap for the program. We give a name to these different operational ecosystems. For example, these red ecosystems, this red ecosystem that is specifically an IT ecosystem, we call it future digital architecture ecosystem. It includes different projects like office migration, for example. This specific one for real estate that was composed of the main activities that were already designed in the roadmap was called future workspace design ecosystem. And for HR, because they started from the purpose and they already defined their cultural blueprints, we call it future work culture design ecosystem. And at this intersection, we let emerge new mixed ecosystem
So at the middle of technology and building assets, we discuss with them about future of smart spaces ecosystem. And we discussed, for example, with realistic people about some opportunity of innovation, for example, a digital twin in the building that could help them to manage the flow for the return to the office, etc., etc. This is how we proceeded. So
what does it look like?
So
This.
it helps us to co-design a global transformation roadmap in 1 month, where for each color we identified the gathered activities, and it helps us to define 3 long years roadmap. And for the next step, for the details, we will see this on the next step. Maybe at this step you have a question. No?
Well, I think we want to know which quadrant that's on.
Yeah.
Not clear.
Once again. What kind
So
of
was
what?
it the design and innovate quadrant? So that's what you said? Or was it collecting all the tasks? I'm not sure.
The answers to the
Yeah.
game.
Yes, sorry. We started from there,
That's one.
and it was a little swap because we completed with some execute there.
So the border is the last one.
That's one.
So the context.
So, I reuse I reuse this picture because when I did this picture yesterday, you bought it? No.
Copyright. They trust you.
The context, we have now defined the future of work ecosystems at an operative level. You have a clear definition of operational OKRs that are declining for each stakeholder, so HR, IT, and real estate. In this new level, the last one, you want to put in place a lasting dynamic that will help you to keep coherence and cohesion along the time of your transformation.
So if we try to sum up, we started from here with the EDGY framework. The different questions we had together was about the coordinated level. And then we arrived on the scope, the roadmap scope, and the related governance to put in place the operative level. So now the expected outcome is you need to foster the ongoing alignment of the different ecosystems at an operative level to deliver the expected value, and create the conditions for self-organization. I don't remember what you to build collective resilience and establish collective sustainability. So last comes to create. For first option, animating production delivery with Scrum and in an agile mindset.
So those are different methodologies. You could use Scrum and Agile. You could go with enterprise design sprints. Maybe you prefer to go with a classical waterfall, or maybe you believe in magic. We'll let you discuss. You have 2 minutes.
Next one.
So we bring the.
I like that. It's a good method. I like Characters.
But this is for me.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. We find somebody. No, no, we're connected. Yeah.
So, I'm trying to come. You're explaining? Yes. Any comments on this one?
We had a discussion whether it might make sense to go with the design sprint to figure out what's to implement in the Scrum. But we then went for Magic.
Yeah.
Good, good. Which one are you reading?
We choose this one.
We will explain why. The science.
So what we did, and as a conclusion for all this adventure, we used EDGY as a layer 0 design in backstage. When we started the mission, it was 2 years ago. So we didn't especially communicate about the use of enterprise design for our players. Well, we kept the framework. That was the English context. We kept the framework to create a logic connection between all the elements, etc., assets, to be sure to ask the good question to our client, to define with them the guidelines, the frame of their transformation program. So we use the EDGY as layer 0 design in backstage to help us design future work transformation program that is currently helping today empowering people designing their future work reality by themselves. So we want to let the power to people, and that's why we proceeded like this, organizing ecosystems where the borders of each ecosystems are clear, because we consider that one connection that we are going to discuss about this with you. If you want that people take the place and play with the limits of each ecosystem, it's very important to be clear about what is the border. So that's why we proceeded like this. So our hidden issues was to make a new territories like these ecosystems, where people were helped recognize that they have in common, what they have in common, and the different enterprise entities on which they depend. So we ought to create the conditions for self-organization take place into these emerging ecosystems. And we wanted to share with you this sentence. This works from non-amigos. We can control systems or figure them out, but we can dance with them. We hope you enjoyed this session, and we are asking you to test this.
Thank you. Comments?
Well, excellent way to engage with stakeholders.
How big is this bank? How many employees?
3,000.
And to answer the previous question, so let's not forget that this three-year transformation is within a specific program, right? That was ordered by HR. This was the first request. So they want to make people adopt the future of work. They want to co-design with them. Okay, I just resume the whole thing. Okay, for sure it will do an emergence of different behaviors through that. But this is just a 3-year transformation program to definitely adopt the future of work. They co-design with the bank. This is just this part. So now after 1 year and a half, almost 2 years,
Yes.
we see some change in the behaviors, right? So we have other type of questions regarding the more global transformation.
And at the beginning, describing an experience like this, it opens the door to extend the initial scope that was very focused on HR, for HR, etc. So we had the opportunity to open the scope, and in the beginning we proposed to include business time to mix stakes and employee experience. That was not the case, but everything could happen.
So, did you say, was the intention that out of this would emerge a new culture?
Yeah.
Or did they say,
Basically, yes.
here are the company values, and therefore you need to imbue these into future way of working?
Yeah.
And so,
Totally.
which one was it?
It was to make merge. The big mission was to make people adopt the future of work, but they needed to define what was it before that. So the first year was just to.
So the co-design actually also meant to co-design the future culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you show the very last slide again? So the summary thing here.
Yeah.
Because you only used 5 seconds to express a very beautiful and powerful statement. You know how big the statement is, right? So our hidden mission was to make a broad new terrorist where people were helped to recognize what they have in common and the different enterprise entities on which they depend. Self-organization can take place into these emerging ecosystems when these conditions are met. We're discussing a lot why is HR not successful. Okay, so HR self-organization, autonomy, and we believe that enterprise design is the missing link, because otherwise you have HR teams that are talking. So if you would be good, I would love to quote that. That's really amazing.
Sure.
Sure.
I think there is some synergy there, because whilst you did say enterprise design, the agility frameworks cater for emergent design. So to a certain extent, that environment is also trying to cater for the same thing, where through an agile way of working,
yeah,
you're catering for emergence of behavioral change amongst your team as well. So I think we shouldn't always try to separate the two.
No,
As in with enterprise design here and agility was on
And I want to add that if we had to restart the mission now, we would be very transparent about the EDGY framework because of the tools that we have created and because of the international launch of the EDGY framework and everything. But at this moment, it was at the beginning, it was very traditional content. So we had to be very clear. We had to take into account their big expectations. That's why we had to propose with different place tools, etc. It was very pragmatic dimensions.
Okay, maybe only one more.
Oh.
I haven't asked a question yet.
Okay.
But this is a question to you, but also maybe more broadly, because there are many people who are working in organizational transformation. I'm really curious to know, once you go in as a consultant to do work like this for an organizational transformation, and transformation by definition is never ending. So what do you put in place so that the organization can reassess and continue? Because presumably you go in, help them with this body of work. In this particular case, it was a 3-year program. Presumably you're not there all the time, right? Or do you plan to go back in 3 years and review it? I'm not sure. This is a general question. When we talk about organizational transformation, how do we plan for sustaining that?
So we don't want to control the outputs and the form of the outputs. That's why we insist on the first part describing the ambition, etc. And next, the design system of the transformation. And then the how phase. We don't want to make some effort from this. We want to let people design by themselves. We are not transformation designer, or when we describe ourselves as transformation designer, that was one of my introduction sentences. We put the effort on creating the condition to make things happen, and make things happen is about the how. And we want to give this power to people. So it's about empowerment.
Yeah.
So we don't design an end state. We design for empowerment.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Anthony.